Have you ever felt someone else's emotions as if they were your own? This question might seem peculiar to some, but to those who identify as empaths, it's a daily reality. This is a story of my journey, a journey spanning over 50 years of feeling, absorbing, and navigating through a spectrum of emotions, often all in a single day. As a child, my heart was a sponge for the world's sorrows. I remember being 10 years old, tears streaming down my face as I heard about a child discarded like trash after enduring unthinkable abuse. I remember the worry I felt for abandoned kittens, their vulnerability tugging at my heartstrings. Empathy wasn't a choice. It was an inherent part of who I was. Fast forward to my adult years, spending countless hours commuting on mass transit, working in the heart of the city. Each journey was like an emotional roller coaster. I would step onto the train feeling one way, and by the time I disembarked, my mood would have shifted entirely. Annoyance, anxiety, anger, a gamut of emotions washed over me, and I couldn't understand why. It took me a while to realize that these emotions weren't mine. They were energies I had absorbed from those around me. I recall a particularly disturbing experience on a bus. A woman was talking to herself, swearing in a different language. When I stepped off that bus, I was overcome with violent illness. I was crying, praying, trying to rid myself of the negativity that had seeped into me, this one of several instances on public transportation. I was starting to see a pattern. You see, we humans are spiritual beings having a human experience. Energy is real. It cannot be destroyed, and it can indeed be transferred. As an empath, I found that I needed solitude to regroup and recharge. I had to be vigilant about the energy I allowed into my space and learn to protect my energy. There is scientific evidence supporting the concept of being an empath, but the most compelling proof for me is my personal experience. I felt physically ill from standing in a queue, only to recover the moment I distanced myself from the crowd. All this time it wasn't my energy, but what I had absorbed from others. There was this one time on a bus where I had a particularly intense experience. I remember it clearly. A young man was there talking to himself. His voices, they varied, as if he was a choir of souls trapped in a single body. An unsettling symphony of emotions swept through the air, and I unsuspectingly became its audience. As the journey continued, I began to feel a shift. A creeping unease, a sense of dread that wasn't mine, began to cast a shadow over my thoughts. By the time I disembarked, I felt a wave of sickness wash over me, as if I was carrying the weight of another's torment. It was a violent, raw feeling, like nothing I'd ever experienced before. I came to realize that I had absorbed something of the young man's energy, his pain, his confusion, his fear. Whatever illness or bad spirits or energy that young man had, it had affected me. Being an empath is not an easy path, but it's important to remember that you're not alone. The world is full of energy, swirling around us in invisible currents, and as empaths, we are uniquely tuned into this energetic dance. But with this gift comes a heavy responsibility. We must learn to care for ourselves, to guard our energy, to ensure we can continue to navigate this world in a way that is healthy and sustainable. Self-care is paramount. We often feel the need to care for others, to absorb their pain, their joy, their sadness. But we must also remember to care for ourselves. This includes taking time alone to recharge our batteries. There's no shame in needing space, in seeking solitude. In fact, it's necessary. Alone time allows us to process the energy we've absorbed, to release what is not ours, and to regain our balance. Just as important is being mindful of our daily experiences. As empaths, we are affected not just by the people we encounter, but also by the places we visit and the events we witness. We must be choosy about where we go and what we do, understanding that some situations will be more draining than others. Similarly, we must be careful about what we consume, both physically and mentally. Certain foods, drinks, and media can have a profound impact on our energy levels and emotional states. And while some may dismiss our experiences as mere imagination, there is growing recognition within the scientific community of the reality of being an empath. Research into mirror neurons and emotional contagion provides a neurological basis for our experiences, affirming that what we feel is not just real, but a fundamental part of the human experience. To my fellow empaths, what you feel is real. Take steps to protect your energy and use your power for good. as it was intended to help others. Remember, being an empath is not a curse, but a gift. It's a unique lens through which to view the world, and with the right care and attention, it can be a source of immense strength and wisdom.